Well, joining us in studio is Dr. Evan Cohen. He's the chairman of the Likud party's LGBT Caucus. And Evan, I have to ask you, how can you support a party that denies you the most basic right of having a family?
I don't support the bill. I don't support the bill that they passed in the Knesset today. I understand the political reason for passing the bill. I think it's shameful. It shouldn't have been passed. Amir Ohana and another one of the coalition party members, Merav Ben-Ari, submitted a bill today, an amended bill, which was what Netanyahu said he would support, and hopefully he will carry through with his promise, and he will indeed support the bill that Ohana and Merav Ben-Ari submitted today.
What does this say about Prime Minister Netanyahu of the ruling Likud party that he will do that kind of about face on a bill that on a law that he seemed to initially support in favor of what is essentially a powerful part of his coalition, those ultra-Orthodox members?
We have a problem with the ultra-Orthodox. We know that. We have a problem with them with civil marriage. We have a problem with them with rules regarding the Sabbath. We have lots of problems with them, and this is another one of those problems. The situation today was an extremely complicated situation. I'll try to simplify it. We had two crucial laws which had to be passed, the surrogacy law and a law regarding the state of Israel being a Jewish state. And the ultra-Orthodox parties basically said, if you don't support our stand on the surrogacy law, we won't support the very important bill regarding the state of Israel. So Netanyahu had to pass the bill as is, or basically lose all the votes in the Knesset and the coalition would topple. So what happened now is that we have a new bill submitted, and hopefully that Netanyahu will support this bill. And if he doesn't support the bill, I promise I'll be back in 3 months' time to say what I think about that.
But Evan, how could you, that amount of time in Israel is an eternity. Of course, there could be a new excuse. There could be elections coming. He could turn around and say there's another bill. How can you build on the Prime Minister's word when he turned around and after just 2 days ago saying he would support...
Kalev, I have to interrupt here. He didn't. What he said was that he would support the amendment to the bill when Ohana submitted it. It's getting into complicated legislative processes today. Ohana hadn't submitted it. What Ohana did was he had a stipulation regarding the bill which had been submitted, which the government supported. The coalition is bound to support this bill. There were 3 members of the coalition, Ohana and 2 others, who did not support the bill, and they will be punished for this. Incorrectly so, but they will be punished for this. Netanyahu is following through with his promise. Ohana said so today as well, and will support the bill. And if he doesn't, then, as I said...
he's not following through yet. We don't know if he'll support the bill.
Let's hear a little more of what's being said about this from within the Likud party. Here is what Member of Parliament Yehuda Glick said to our Mike Wagenheim earlier today.
Those who voted today against the law declared how much they love the community, but they would have caused damage to the community. Those who care about the community voted for the bill today, and understand that in politics you don't get everything on day one. Things happen gradually, step by step. There are processes in the world, and I think, yes, the opposition today are going out and declaring that they did some great thing and they protected the gay community. That's not the situation. If they would have, God forbid, caused that law not to be accepted today, they would have caused much more damage to the LGBT community.
Evan, your response to Yehuda Glick, a member of your own party?
Respectfully or otherwise disagree. He's wrong. I think the bill should not have passed today. There was no way that it wouldn't pass, though, because this is the way the coalition governments work in Israel. I disagree with him. I agree with Amir Ohana and with Sharren Haskel and with Merav Ben-Ari and with Gila Gamliel, the only minister who did not show up for the vote, in fact, in order to support the community. She couldn't vote against it because then she would be deposed as a minister, but she didn't show up to vote against the bill.
You were saying the Likud party has a major problem with the ultra-Orthodox, and that is... Any government, but this current government has a problem then with the ultra-Orthodox, and by that reasoning, they're sort of holding certain bills hostage, like you just described, pushing for laws like what we just saw, less rights, whether it's for women or LGBT community. So what do you do? How do you move forward in this government when that is the case? Shouldn't this government try to free itself then of that ultra-Orthodox faction?
It should. Offers were made to 2 of the major opposition parties to join the government. They declined. So this is the government we're stuck with, basically. I don't think Netanyahu is going to go to elections just because he can't pass 1 or 2 of the bills that he wants to pass. What happened in this case, though, is that once the bill regarding the state of Israel as being a Jewish state is passed, the ultra-Orthodox won't have the leverage. And in 3 or 4 months' time, a bill calling for the early elections won't be much of a threat either, because the elections will be just around the corner anyway. Evan, so they'll lose the leverage, and therefore I think that the bill will pass.
I just want to ask you, will you join other members of the gay community in strike, in protest this Sunday?
No.
Why not?
I'm not joining them ideologically. It's just totally ineffective. It doesn't do anything. And
So what does do something? What can they do?
Well, what we can do now is we can approach all our members of Knesset and force them, basically, especially those from the Democratic parties, basically saying that if you don't vote for the bill that Ohana submits, we won't vote for you in primaries. And this is something that I've said openly, and I will say again, I will only vote for members of the Likud in the primaries if they support the bill that Ohana submits.